Your experience of life isn't defined by what happened to you. It's shaped by how you choose to see it. By shifting your perception, you can literally transform your life into one that's filled with peace and joy. But first, you must realize that everything is a choice. When you start to realize that everything is a choice, it's almost like the first step in taking your power back, gaining that power. Even at the times when you are not choosing, you are still choosing not to choose. I can't stress to you enough that you must grasp that about everything being a choice, because it's pivotal. You can have the awareness, which is always half the battle, and having that awareness and understanding that everything's a choice is half the battle also. But knowing that you have the power to choose, to try and give you a more concrete understanding, I'll just share a couple of things from my own life. So one of them was, which I've said on other videos, that my children and I were in a house fire. So I have 4 children. At the time of the house fire, I think my youngest 2 are twins. They were probably about 6, a 9-year-old and 15 at the time, and it was just me. And so 12:30 in the middle of the night, the alarm was going off. My oldest child was there. I'd actually thought she was going to say that she was vaping in her room, but she wasn't. She'd fallen asleep with a candle on, and her whole, well, at that time, there was just quite a bit, enough of a fire in her room that I was unable to put out. So anyway, long story short, we ended up in emergency accommodation for 4.5 months. The house that we were renting was just unlivable. There was a massive hole in the roof. My daughter's room had completely, it was just gone, completely burnt. The rest of the house, like the whole attic had come through, not all of it, but probably a good 25-30% of it. There was just water damage everywhere. So if it wasn't burnt, if it wasn't smoked out, then it had water damage. So I had no house insurance, and we lost everything apart from amazingly sentimental things. So pictures of when my oldest was like 2, and school reports from when I was like 9 and whatever. Everything else ruined. I still had my crystals and stuff as well. So at that time, it would have been easy for my mindset, for my experience to be, oh my gosh, poor us. We have nothing. We've lost everything. I have no money to get anything, no insurance to replace anything. We have no home. I wouldn't even be able to rent anywhere because I wasn't in a working job. I had pets as well, so I wouldn't be able to get another private accommodation. It was or it could be easy to see that everything was stacked against us. And at that time, I didn't choose to think about that, and I could have. Okay, and this is the point of choosing. I could have chosen all those negative thoughts and feelings. Well, those negative thoughts that then would have created negative feelings. However, I chose to focus on Me and my children are alive. We are alive. And I don't care what we lost, because that's all replaceable. But our lives are not. We all still have our health. There was trauma, yes, and that took time to work through the body. But we had our physical health, and our mental health was coming in time. Okay, now, just that gratitude, that simple shift of that is just one layer. Another layer is just having that faith. I just had that faith that, okay, do you know what? In the darkest times is when we can grow, and everything is happening for me. Nothing is happening against me. Everything is always for my highest good. And just trusting in that. And even if that is rubbish and bull, it still felt more at peace in my body than choosing the thoughts of lack and what we didn't have. And if you watched any of my other videos, you know that I trust my vibes. And so I know that if it's bringing a feeling of peace within my body, that means it's resonating. And that means that's my truth. If it doesn't feel good, like all those negative things would have brought, then that would also be my compass of telling me, no, this isn't resonating because this isn't feeling good. And so this is what I say to you, like, you can have any experience in life that happens outside of you, but it's how you, because you're the one who is in control up here. You're the one that has that power to control up here. You're the one that can choose the thoughts that you have up here. And do not get me wrong, I do understand that there are going to be many times when negative thoughts and things come up. Okay, but if you can catch yourself and you arm yourself up with things that you can change them with, so rewriting the story of things that you've told yourself and replacing it with positive things. So it could be, for example, just thinking what happened recently was my children, my youngest two, they went to bed arguing and they woke up physically fighting. It's how my day started. And by the time I dropped them off at school, I actually could feel unbalanced in my body. Bearing in mind, I'd had an hour and a half of screaming, shouting, physically fighting children for the morning. So I could have allowed my mind to take control and run all that story of like, oh, this is stressful. I don't like having my mornings like this. Why do they have to be like this? Oh, for goodness sake. I could have been focusing on all the negative stuff. I could have been getting angry at them and stressed out at them. But I know that would just add to the unsettled feeling in my body. So those thoughts would not serve me. So instead, I shifted my focus and my thoughts to, okay, but this too shall pass. Just like everything, positive, negative, this too shall pass. This is just a momentary, tiny little bit of time and space, and that's it. And if somebody was deaf, they'd give anything to hear their children, even if it was bickering and fighting. There's some people that would give anything to have children. At least I even get to have this and experience this. And that might sound bonkers to you, but if it feels good and it brings peace in the body, again, it means it's resonating. It's resonating with your body. That's why it feels that way. That is the thoughts and the things that serve us and our highest purpose. And I know many people can feel or think that it's hard, especially like a friend recently who's broken up from a long-term relationship and feeling that their ex is doing things that are on purpose and triggering them. And I know that many people go through that experience. I mean, you might even think it with your current partners or your children or people at work or siblings. But you have to understand, if you keep that interpretation is what stresses you out. Not them. It's your interpretation of what they are doing, what you are telling yourself, that then creates that feeling inside of you, which stresses you out. And if you understand that you control this, and if you allowing those thoughts, you are choosing that. Not necessarily, allowing them, but I would say, if you have the awareness that they're playing off in your mind and you're not giving yourself tools or finding other ways to deal with it so it doesn't feel stressful, then you are choosing it. And I know that's very hard for many people to accept, but that's the truth, because who else is in here? And if you don't control yourself, who will? You'll be running on subconscious patterns. So just know that it might initially feel hard because you're going against what's familiar. And, deep down, what's unfamiliar doesn't feel good in the body, because staying with the familiar is what's kept us alive for all these years. So it will feel strange. But the more and more you kind of take control, the more and more you have that awareness of what's going on and decide to not let that old record play, the more and more you take control to just change the story, change the narrative, so that you are slowly pushing your limit of balance and peace within. The more you do that, the easier it gets. I promise, I swear. Anyway, just share. What have you found most difficult, or what might be the most common repetitive negative thoughts that you tell yourself, either experience from a relationship or children or just life in general, that you're finding hard to shift or you're struggling to replace it with. And if I can help, I will always help. Anyway, so much love and blessings, and take care.